Hi, my name's Andy Cope, Dr. Andy Cope, Doctor of Happiness, Doctor of Positive Psychology from England. The art of being brilliant, as the theme of the books, is in the UK I am currently the one and only Doctor of Happiness, so the t-shirt gives you a clue. So what I've been doing for 15 years is studying the science of positive psychology, which is basically the science of happiness and the science of well-being. So my job as a researcher was to seek out happy people, follow them around and work out why they're so happy. So what happens in the books is then we try and distill 12 years of research down into some very clear, simple messages. So what I did was essentially give people a diary in the workplace and ask them to record how they feel, and then we plotted people onto a graph of well-being, and what we found was there was a very small percentage of the population that I call the 2%ers, who when you plot them on a graph of happiness they're right at the top. So it's a handful of people you can think of in your life, and only a handful who've got an energy and a passion and a smile on their face and a positivity. And the spooky thing is that nobody has ever really researched those people before because they're not ill. So what the whole of the medical profession and the whole of psychology has always been about is about studying people who aren't happy. So what I decided to flip the coin and say, well, who are these weirdos, these happy people who are happy? Who are they? What are they doing? And most importantly is what can we then learn from them so that we can live at that end of our well-being spectrum too. In terms of the books, I started writing many years ago. In 2005, I started as a children's author. I wrote a series called Spy Dog, which is, touch wood, still doing really well. So out of that then came the other half of what I do is now about well-being, positivity and happiness. And what I thought, the PhD, of course, ends up in a thesis of 130,000 academic words, which nobody's ever going to read. But if you simplify it, you take away all the big words, then you're left with the best bits. The bits that are doable, the bits that change your life. I think the modern world, I love the modern world, but the modern world is very fast, it's very full on, it's very in your face, and I think so many people are so busy. In fact, I read a quote the other day, and the quote was, if there's something missing in your life, then it's probably you. And I think that's a really smart quote, because what I think is that we're so busy trying to get somewhere else and do stuff that we forget who we really are. So what positive psychology does, it peels back all the layers and peels back the busyness and says, who are you actually being when you're being the best version of you? And it's that simplicity that I love. To be brilliant every day, I think the truth is nobody's brilliant every day. I think chill and relax. It's okay to have a bad day. And positive psychology acknowledges the fact that you are allowed to not be okay. But we want to minimise the downtime and maximise the uptime. So I think the number one thing that I learned to do was what I learned from my research was the very simple choice to have a positive attitude. And I know that that sounds like a really simple and obvious thing, but most people aren't making a choice. So consciously and deliberately choosing to be positive is probably the biggest thing that's changed my life. Next for me is I am halfway through writing a book. I'm on a tour of India at the moment for 10 weeks backpacking, and on that 10 weeks the aim is to write a book written in India for an Indian population, because it's okay for me as the Doctor of Happiness in the UK, but India has a different set of problems. So what we're trying to do is write a book that's got some simple top tips that are applicable in India. I am now 7 weeks into a 10-week tour of India, and this is the first day of work that I've done here talking to this camera, and I've just delivered a session to teachers in India, and I have to say it's probably the most positive audience that I've seen in the last 5 years. So thank you, India.